Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to take your seats now, we'll be starting in about 2 minutes.
Well, what a beautiful way to start, Andre Rieu, and I believe that he is one of Liz's favourites. And welcome to each and every one of you, and on behalf of Hank and all of Liz's family, I wish to sincerely thank you for coming here today to participate in this gathering to honour Liz's memory. We come here with mixed emotions, both mourning the loss of Liz and remembering the life that you have all shared with her. You've all come here to support each other as you pause to remember a very special woman in your life. So today is a time of coming together to say your final goodbyes to Liz and to remember what she meant to you personally. And I know that each of you have in some way played a part in Liz's life. So this celebration for Liz is for her, but it's also for each of you as we gather together to share this time with each other. Death in a number of ways unites us all, and Liz's death for a time demands that each one of us put aside our toil, our cares and our pleasures to unite ourselves with each one here who share in the common bond of love and friendship for Liz. It is at a time like this that we stop the onrush of life. We pause for a little while and reflect. When we think about Liz's life, there's a lot to reflect upon. The way Liz lived her life, being a happy-go-lucky lady who loved to travel, is a clear message to pass on to you all, to live a fuller and more meaningful life of your own. And because you all loved and respected her, her passing causes us to get our own set of values into the true perspective. We know for certain that we never lose the people that we love, even to death. Liz's life leaves an indelible imprint in your hearts and in your memories, and we find comfort in knowing that our lives have been enriched by sharing Liz's life and her love. Friends, I know that you would all agree that Liz has earnt the love and respect of not only her family, but all of those who surround her, and we know that Liz will be very, very sadly missed. Friends, I know that you've all got your own special memories of Liz, and I invite her son-in-law Peter to share a snapshot of Liz's life.
Elisabeth Johanna Maria Van Leeuwen. Liz to Hank. Mum to John and Elisabeth. Uma to the rest of the family and all of Liz's friends. Elisabeth Uma was born to Jan Owerkirk and Elizabeth Kirstens 13 October 1923. Elisabeth's early years were spent in Holland, where she experienced the difficulties and deprivations of the German occupation of her country during World War II. Experiences that were to shape Elisabeth's life and make her the lady that we all loved. Elisabeth married Cornelius Franciscus Van Leeuwen in 1947. Elisabeth Cornelia arrived in 1948. This little girl was always Minna, my girl. Jean-Paul, or John as we all know him, arrived in 1949. The Van Leeuwen family emigrated to Australia in 1952 on the Dutch ship Johan van Oldenbarneveld. On arrival in Australia, they were housed in Bathurst, the immigration centre there. From Bathurst, their lives followed the path of Australia's immigration population of the post-war era. Hard work, sacrifice, and fun with family and friends, new and old. A home was built in Bringelly Road in Kingswood, which at no time was encumbered by a bank loan. It was a week-by-week project. Get paid, get something for the house. The usual family events came along, with Elisabeth, a daughter, marrying Gordon Matthews, who is since deceased, in 1969, and John marrying Anne Blythe, also deceased. Elisabeth later remarried to me. Grandchildren arrived who grew up, married, and great-grandchildren arrived, some of whom have grown to young adulthood and are moving out into the world with their own careers. Grandchildren, Bronwyn, Lindsay and Elisabeth, with their partners Matt, Mel and Chris, and great-grandchildren Brooke and Megan, Fleur and Ellie, and Luke and Henry. Uma adored them all. In 1976, Cornelius passed away from leukaemia. As would be expected, this was a big hole in Elisabeth's life. A memory related to the family was a photo of Cornelius with grandson Lindsay in his arms and saying he would never see this little fellow grow up. In those early years, Elisabeth was a busy woman. Being a mother and a businesswoman, they owned and operated the Pineapple Bar in Penrith. This was a juice bar as well as a hot food and sandwiches. They employed 3 people for many of those years. During Cornelius' illness, Elisabeth purchased a laundromat in the P&R Arcade. Laundromat business required Elisabeth to be a bit more independent, hence a driving licence was required. Lee Driving School at Penrith were giving lessons and providing pick-up and delivery of Elisabeth to the laundromat. Would not be certain, but possibly cheaper than a taxi. On gaining her licence, a new Toyota was purchased. Elisabeth's daughter recalls the new smell of the leather seats, still having that new smell many years after purchase, an indication of how well that car was looked after and perhaps how little driving was necessary. During this time of her life, Elisabeth confided to her daughter that she had 3 wishes: to own a mink coat, to own a diamond ring, and to own a house by the sea with a white fence. As we all know, she achieved all three. The house by the sea at Tawoon Bay was enjoyed for many years by children, great-grandchildren and some of her great-grandchildren. One of Elisabeth's social activities was playing cards, claviosa, a Dutch version of bridge. She was a great player with many great memory for what cards had been played. It was on one of these occasions Elisabeth stumbled across a bloke called Hank Van Leeuwen. It must have been quite a stumble, as Hank has been part of our lives for more than 40 years. Hank and Elisabeth lived in Elisabeth's house in Bringelly Road. Elisabeth's life with Hank was very busy, as along with both working, Hank was involved with a travel group at Penrith City Leagues Club. So along with all their work commitments, there was also a lot of travel with a travel group. In Bringelly Road, Elisabeth's neighbours were the Oliveira's family, with their children Vicky, Johanna and Manos, who knew Elisabeth and Hank as their Dutch grandparents. Elisabeth was, as we all know, not of a shy or retiring disposition. One day Elisabeth was having lunch with her daughter at Penrith Plaza. Lindsay was there with a mate, but Hank was absent. Lindsay asked where he is. Elisabeth says, he is not well as he has pulled a muscle, but it was okay. It wasn't his love muscle. Lindsay's mate nearly had kittens. Elisabeth and Hank eventually moved to Valhalla, a retirement village at Chain Valley Bay. This was now some distance from family around Penrith and the lower Blue Mountains, but this did not reduce family activities. Many a family gathering were had for combined birthday celebrations or special family milestones, like meeting new boyfriends, prospective new partners, and new great-grandchildren. Even up to her early 90s, Hank and Elisabeth were still travelling. One of Elisabeth's memorable moments was when visiting her daughter in Albury, she visited the Wodonga Hospital and was able to hold her one-day-old step-great-granddaughter. We can still hear her saying, I can't believe I'm holding a day-old baby and I am 91. She was so thrilled. Elisabeth was a great lady and made friends easily and was always up for a special occasion. If something was on, she was going to make an effort. One such occasion was a wedding with family connections. It was a Syrian wedding, so it was quite a crowd. Elisabeth had just had cataracts removed from her eyes. Off she and Hank went, Hank in his suit, Elisabeth in a leather jacket, hair done, all the usuals for a lady. However, however, the lighting was too bright, so out came the dark glasses. The godmother had arrived. Elisabeth was a very outgoing lady who had a philosophy on life, no doubt influenced by her early years. Wining, dining, dancing and romancing, not necessarily in that order. A wonderful lady who we will all dearly miss. A wonderful mother, a cheeky mother-in-law, and a loving, caring Oma and Omama. Thank you.
Peter, it's the most difficult thing is to speak about someone you love, and you can see that Liz means a lot to you. And we thank you so much for your efforts and a wonderful life history. It's beautiful to see a collaboration of her life and what she's gone through over the years, because I understand the early years over there in Holland, and I believe that it does form a person's life, and she's done very well, and you're all very lucky to be a part of her life. Friends, Hank has invited me to share some words on his behalf, and thank you, Hank, for the honour of doing that. Hank shared that Liz was a happy-go-lucky lady who enjoyed life to the best each day. With Liz and Hank, there was never a harsh word or an argument. Just an appreciation of having a love and friendship from someone to share life with. They enjoyed the adventure of travelling to Europe to visit family, as well as, I was told, every nook and cranny in Australia. They travelled the Nullarbor 14 times, across the Nullarbor 14 times, and they loved each other's company and they lived for each other. Also too, Duke de Wit, who's the Honorary Secretary of the Concordia Dutch Society, and I believe that we have some people on live stream joining us today, and welcome. He's asked me to share memories on behalf of the Concordia Dutch Society. I wish to convey our deepest sympathy to all of those that have gathered here today in your loss of Liz Van Leeuwen. Sorry, how do you pronounce that name? I don't want to do it wrong.
Van Leeuwen.
Van Leeuwen. Thank you. My apologies. Not only the family, but the Dutch community are mourning the loss of a much-loved person. Today, we not only celebrate the life of a beautiful person, but we're also here to say thanks, having had the opportunity to touch her life. You've also come together to say farewell. Unfortunately, many cannot be in attendance to share your sorrow, all due to another outbreak of COVID in our region. At least we can follow the service in the comfort of our own homes via the internet. Liz and Hank attended many Dutch functions over the years, including Istuf at Marmong Point. Later, their absence was noted and their general health continued to be a worry for both. Getting older does play havoc in many people's lives. It was increasingly difficult to drive such a distance to attend our functions, and they brought so much love and joy to them, especially meeting their many Dutch friends at our get-togethers at the Cardiff RSL. To family and friends in the chapel who have gathered to say thanks for the long life of Liz, please remember to keep her close to your heart and in your thoughts. Constantly remind yourself of never-ending love for you until we ourselves pass to eternity. May Liz rest in peace, and as the Dutch say, rust in vrede. Thank you very much, Dupe. That's lovely that I can share your words on your behalf. You must all have your own special memories of Liz, so please use this as an opportunity to remind yourselves of the wonderful times that you've shared with Liz that puts a big smile in your heart.
Sunshine sky, and there's a reason why I'm feeling so high. Must be the season when that love light shines all around us. So let that feeling grab you deep inside and send you reeling where your love can't hide, and then go stealing through the moonlit nights with your love. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show, and you'll know what I mean. It's the season. Let your love fly like a bird on the wing, and let your love bind you to all living things, and let your love shine, and you'll know what I mean. That's the reason. There's a reason for the warm, sweet nights, and there's a reason for the candle lights. Must be the season when those love lights shine all around us. So let that wonder take you into space and lay you under its loving embrace. Just feel the thunder as smallest of dreams and let your love show. And you'll know what I mean. It's the season. Let your love fly high like a bird on the wing, and let your love find you to all living things, and let your love shine. And you'll know what I mean. That's the reason. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams, and let your love show. And you'll know what I mean. It's the season. Let your love fly high like a bird on the wing, and let your love find you to all living things, and let your love shine. And you'll know what I mean. That's the reason. Just let your love flow like a mountain stream, and let your love grow with the smallest of dreams.
What a kaleidoscope of memories that is. Friends, a verse has been chosen to share with you today which depicts the love and the respect that you all have for Liz. And it's titled God's Garden. They say it's a beautiful journey from the old world to the new. And someday we'll all take that journey up the stairway that leads to you. And when we reach the garden where we're free from pain, we'll put our arms around you, and we'll never meet again, and we'll never part again. God looked around his garden and he saw an empty space. He then looked down upon this earth and found a lady full of grace. A golden heart had stopped beating. 2 hands were laid to rest. The garden must be beautiful because he only takes the best. What an amazing life Liz has lived. Such a long span and so many diverse experiences. Friends, there is hurt and grief because you have lost this beautiful lady. Please remember that love is there and the pain is there because Liz has touched your hearts, and for that you're privileged. Your own personal memories of Liz will have come to the surface more strongly because of her passing. And while these memories remain in your hearts, so Liz will be with you. To quote beautiful words said, a life that touches the hearts of others lives forever. Some people say the measure of a successful life is whether or not you can say at the end of it that I've made a difference. Well, there's certainly no doubt here. Elisabeth Johanna Maria. She made a huge difference. So friends, for all that are able, would you please stand for our farewell? Could you please share with me in saying the Lord's Prayer? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Friends, we've reached the time of our farewell for Liz, and tenderly and lovingly we commit the body of Elisabeth Johanna Maria to nature's keeping. We give thanks for Liz's life, and we remember with deep gratitude Liz's love of family and of life itself. We're grateful for the life that has been lived and for all that Liz's life has meant to each of us. We're glad that we saw Liz's smile and felt the love in her heart. We cherish the memory of Liz's words, her deeds and her character. We cherish Liz's friendship, but most of all, her love. And Liz's memory will remain in each of your hearts forever. Friends, it is a comfort to Hank and all of Liz's family to know that they are surrounded by so much love and respect for Liz today. Please leave our celebration with many good thoughts, many good memories and happy hearts of Liz, as we all know that Liz would not want you to leave here with sadness today, just joy in her memory.